Hey guys, C-Drama Invasion here. Welcome back to a new video. This week in C-Drama news and entertainment, there's just been so much going on. It's quite overwhelming, so I do apologize that these videos might come out a little bit later just because it takes me a while to do the research, put it into a nice and reasonable way so then you guys can understand it easily and also upload. And it's also back to school season, so quite busy, but let's just jump on into it. This video will talk about the CCP Chinese new bans, latest ones regarding the banning probably BL series and also pretty men or feminine men. We'll get into it, but if you guys do want to see more about the previous rules, then make sure to check out my Chinese updates videos. So episode 55 and 56, I do talk a little bit about the Qinglang controversy and how they're trying to regulate internet rules regarding Chinese celebrities and fandoms. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss out on future uploads, and let's just jump on into it. So they released a huge document and this outlined a lot of new rules, including the internet celebrity things that we talked about in previous episodes. And now, as part of it, they're trying to discourage pretty men or this style of feminine looking men. I think there's quite a couple of main objectives and reasons behind this. The first one is obviously to make men appear more manly, and this is because they want to have more menace in terms of military and just as a society. And at the forefront of society, if you think about it, who is influence young people? It's the idols, it's the celebrities, actors and actresses that you see in movies, online, and social media, of course. Which is why you're seeing so much regulations happening recently in the entertainment industry. They don't like that the main aesthetic of Chinese men is influenced by Japanese or Korean pop culture, and they want to push back for a cultural reset. This is just major news because these are identities that we're talking about. The pretty or feminine style that you would associate with idols is probably making up 80% of the Chinese industry and what you see online and in dramas, right? Typically, you would describe these men as well-dressed. They're quite pale, white, and perfect skin. They wear makeup. And in these dramas or variety shows, you can see them constantly retouch their makeup, such as lip products, BB cream, foundations. They're also promoting a lot of these and are sponsored by a lot of these makeup brands or skincare brands. They do give off a more softer or feminine look. They're tall, they're slim build. Some of them dye their hair, and majority of them have their hair styled. And right now, with all of these scandals that's been happening, China's government is realizing how much influence they have on culture as a whole, because if you think about it, it trickles down into everyday lifestyles and becomes trends that the public just follows. For example, in the Western culture, let's just take Kim Kardashian as an example. The Kardashians, they come out with new products, or if they look a certain way, they dress a certain way, a lot of people are going to try to imitate that. It's just a new trend, and that's just how it works. So right now, the government are trying to ban this style and trying to make them go for a more masculine look. Honestly, these documents are official, but they're quite vague, so we're not really sure how they're going to roll back on this, or just how extreme the consequences and everything will be. But usually it takes a couple months if they're trying to make an official law. I think around 2022, we'll definitely get more like guidelines of everything, and we'll see major changes in the industry. To be honest, I doubt that they're just going to kick everyone out and just cancel all of these dramas with those pretty male leads. Right now, there's not a clear definition of what manly is. For sure, you can associate it with like more bigger men where they're just more muscular. They have tanner skin maybe and wear no makeup and it's just more natural. So what really defines masculinity and what Chinese people will see as okay and what's not okay, we're not sure yet. The second major point is just military. Have you seen like the memes of other countries where it's like their country's military versus Chinese or Asian military? Where other countries, the men are more tall, they're stronger, I guess, and they just want to have China kind of implement that type of feeling, especially their armies and military. So I honestly feel like there's only so much you can do, and now that they're regulating looks, I guess people can roll back on like less makeup and stuff and dress like differently, maybe get tanner, get more fit, build more muscles, if that's like a new requirement for all of the actors in the upcoming few years. But there's only so much you can do since it's a lot of genetics, and Asians are just built different from your American or European counterparts. So with this new policy, there's definitely going to try to go for a more intimidating factor, and I guess it will end up benefiting the military for the long run. Now you might be saying, what does this have to do with BL? BL is affected because they're full of feminine looking men or feminine style. They also did like put out a statement saying that they don't like queer baiting and think it's not ethical just to do it to get views. And if you think about it, it's only been, I think, a couple of years since The Untamed, which has really boosted a lot of BL sector in terms of Chinese dramas and also the sales of Chinese web novels. And they're just trying to roll back on that. They don't like it. They think that it's queer baiting. And I think they just want to discourage LGBTQ relationships. And a subscriber of mine recently commented and put out a really good point, stating that it's because the men versus woman ratio is just too different. There's a huge gap. There's way more men. That's why they kind of just want to discourage LGBTQ relationships and make sure there's more offsprings and there's a more balance in general. So if you guys have been keeping up with the BL dramas that you wanted to air this year, there was a lot of talk about Winner is King and also Immortality that might air this year, but all of those dramas recently just kind of went silent and there's no more new materials or rumors about them. There's been quite a lot of hype saying that Winner is King and Immortality will come out like this fall at the end of Q4, aka the end of this year. However, unfortunately, there's been recently no news, and I don't think that they're going to come out anytime soon, or they will end up being shelved for a while now. And if you also notice, there is a correlation with all these Chinese actors getting into scandals from these BL series. So last year we have Xiaozan from AO3. He really did lie low for a couple of months. And he recently just recovered with Dolo Continent at the beginning of the year. And he hasn't dropped anything else until the Oath of Love, which is supposed to be scheduled September, like this week. However, there was an announcement that there is a delay. And we also have the Zhang Zeihan case, so we all know about with the shrine, and they were just bringing it up now, even though it was like quite a while back ago when he took those photos. So the point that I'm basically trying to make is that it feels like a lot of these scandals are affecting actors that were in BL dramas, because it seems like BL dramas has gained the most popularity in China and around the world compared to other traditional Chinese dramas that would air. So that's pretty much the situation right now. There's just a lot of signs saying that it's not a good time for BL dramas to come out. We're not too sure about what other rules, regulations, or guidelines will come out after this, but in the following year or a couple of months from now, maybe even at the end of this month, they'll be more specific. I guess the good and the bad thing about this is that China's pretty spontaneous. Like, they can do it overnight, they can cancel you overnight, they can also bring you back overnight. I don't even know. And like how Word of Honor got the green light to air this year, there were a lot of, scenes that were more flirty and that was kind of like borderline, but it still was able to air. Of course, the regulations this year is just wild and definitely more serious. However, I feel like they might let a few pass censorship as long as they cut out those more suggestive scenes or more flirty scenes and just focus on the plot and, double male lead. Perhaps we'll still get some of our BL dramas to air in the next year. It is a sector that a lot of people put money in, and as you can tell, there's so many dramas filming. I think the biggest one is Heaven's Official's Blessing. So far, I was reading a little bit of news around that whole situation, and they decided to just continue the production and just film it all with the actors and make sure everything's complete, even in post-production, even if it doesn't get the green light or air. So at least they are filming everything. So if they are able to air and they'll give it a try, then perhaps we might be able to watch it one day. And also, it might just be like a couple of years things. It might be just temporary, like the Hallyu ban, right? So after a couple of years, 2 or 3 more years, we might see all of these BL situation or these new rules and bans, regulations on femininity and style on men just kind of ease up, and then they don't care too much anymore. But that is it for today's video. I hope I explained it well. And if you like this type of content, give this video a big thumbs up. Comment down, let's do like a purple heart in the comments, since a lot of you are like, you don't know what to comment. If you make it all the way to the end, make sure to comment a purple heart so I know. And yeah, check out my Ko-fi. People call it Ko-fi too. So check out my Ko-fi or Ko-fi if you want to support me extra and buy me a little coffee. I'll really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.